Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Brinda Devi Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Brinda Devi Jaya Brinde, Jaya Brinde, Jaya Brinde, Jaya Shri Brinde. Brinde, Jaya Brinde, Jaya Shri Brinde.
Today is a very special day on the Vaishnav calendar. Phew, many things happened today. Vasant Panchami, which is like the springtime. And actually, it's a time. Does anyone have any kites around here? I'd like to fly a kite today. Okay, because today we're going to fly a kite, because it's kite flying. It's like the springtime. Consider the springtime in India. It's springtime here too. It's also the let's see, several other things. The appearance of Vishnu Priya Devidasi today, Pundarik Vijaniti, Raghulandana Das, Raghunath Das Goswami, and the disappearance of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and it's also Saraswati Puja. So you got a lot of things happening today. So obviously that's what today's class is going to be on. So first we'll chant the prayers of the departed Vaishnavas in honor of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, whose disappearance day we're commemorating today. All right. Jai Hanilo Premadana Korana Prachur Henu Prabhu Kota Gela Chaya Thakur Henu Prabhu Kota Gela Chaya Thakur Kahamora Saruprupa Kaha Sanatan Gahatasura Gunatha Patita Pavan Gunatha Patita Pavan Kahamora Bhatta Yuga Kaha Kaviraj Ekakale Kota Gela Gora Nataras Pashane Kutivo Mata Anale Pashibo Goranga Gune Radnidi Kota Gele Pabo Se Sabha Sangira Sange Joy Koilo Vilas Se Sangana Paya Kande Narotamodas Nanapaya Kande Narotamada Jehanilo Prematana Koruna Prachur Premadana Karuna Prachur Jayacharya Thakur, Jayacharya Thakur, Jayacharya Thakur, Jayacharya Thakur. Jai Om Vishnupad. Paramahansa Paravitkacharya, also Teta Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace, Abhaya. Chalananda Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Mara Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anandakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shila Hridas Thakur Ki Jai. Rem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Shyamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavanam Ki Jai. Maturanam Ki Jai. Jagannath Swami Ki Jai. Yamunamai Ki Jai. Shrimati Lasdevi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bom. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Chidamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vacharani Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Deshatarani Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, let's read the translation. He who brought the treasure of divine love and who was filled with compassion and mercy, where is such a personality as Srinivasa Acharya gone? Where is my Swarup Damodar and Rupa Goswami? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunath Das, the savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunath Bhatta and Gopal Bhatta? And where is Krishnadas Kavi Raj? Where did Lord Gauranga, the great dancer, suddenly go? I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Gauranga, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities? Shh. Being unable to obtain the association of Lord Gauranga, accompanied by all these devotees in whose association he performed his pastimes, Narottama Das simply weeps. So that's in honor of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, whose disappearance day we are commemorating today. So without further ado, we're going to start talking about the biographies of these great personalities, and I don't think we're going to get through all of them. The ones we can't get through, we'll probably bring up tonight in this evening's online class. So, Om Ganat Timidanda Shah Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So first I'm going to talk about Raghunath Das Goswami. And the reason I chose him first is that he is our Prayojana Acharya. And of course he's senior to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And not necessarily senior in age to the other devotees whose appearance day we're celebrating today. But Raghunath Das Goswami's Prayojana Acharya. Prayojana means what? The goal of Krishna consciousness, which is Krishna Prem. And then we have the other Goswamis, the other two Goswamis, Sanatan Goswami, who is Sambandha Acharya, and Rupa Goswami, who is Abhideya Acharya. So Abhideya means the process of becoming Krishna conscious. Sambandha means basically the philosophy, which is an interesting way to put it. The different tattvas, their relationship between each other, the nature of the soul, all those different subject matters. So, story about Raghunath Das Goswami, who's also known as the most renounced, at least externally, they were all renounced, but the most externally renounced of all the Goswamis of Vrindavan, and his austerities were, unimaginable. And one of the reasons he executed those austerities was as a lesson to us that we have to be very careful based upon where we come from. So where we come from means what we were doing before we became immersed in Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan movement. So we all have specific material inclinations that usually can be engaged in Krishna's service, but sometimes we over-engage them in Krishna's service. So in Raghunath Das Goswami's case, he came from an extremely wealthy family. So, of course, he wasn't attracted to that wealth at all. But he was showing us that the very same thing that was his so-called external entanglement in this world was the very thing he would take even excessive steps to avoid. Does everyone understands that? By excessive steps, I mean being engaged in extreme physical austerity and being even reluctant or opposed to taking any sort of financial responsibility. What I mean by that, let's give an example, is that later on in Raghunath Das Goswami's pastimes, when he was residing at Radhakund, actually, Shaimakund. So anyway, so he was residing at Shaimakund. A man came to offer him money to excavate Radhakund and Shaimakund. And this man was actually told by Narayan Rishi. He was visiting, a very rich gentleman was visiting Narayan Rishi in the Himalayas, of course. And he was told by Narayan Rishi, give all the money to Raghunath Das Goswami so he can engage it in excavating the kunds. So instead of personally dealing with the money or personally putting the Radhakund, Shaimakund under his legal jurisdiction, he actually utilized the name of Jiva Goswami to manage the money. Because he showing, just be really careful of the things that you're naturally inclined to be attached to in this world. Isn't it? And we all have our natural inclinations of things that we just like make us joyful, so-called joyful in this world. Like, for example, ladies may be attached to dressing nicely, having nice earrings and things like that. So be careful of those particular things. Everybody knows their own thing, you know, and whether it's clothes, whether it's gadgets, whether it's this or that. So he's teaching us to be careful in this world. So, though that was a very interesting lesson from Raghunath Das Goswami. So, and of course, he wrote his Manak Shiksha, which details about how careful one has to be with the desire to enjoy, and he goes into very interesting analogies about how different desires that align in the heart are compared to like donkeys and things like that. There's an interesting seminar that Mother Urmila gave on this, you know. So, you know, very, very careful about material entanglement. Very careful about eating opulently. Very, very careful. Because when he was in Jagannath Puri, he started eating the rice that was rejected even by the cows. And of course, he was putting a little salt on it too. And he washed it with water just so he didn't get sick. But, I mean, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't execute such heavy, you know, external austerity. Neither did anyone else execute such external austerities. Anyway, the lesson is be careful of dealing with this material energy in the name of Yukta Vairagya. You know, Yukta Vairagya means we can use things in Krishna's service, but be really careful. You know, there's danger on the royal road, you know, the Pravriti Marg, Nivriti Marg. There's actually danger. You could say, well, Yukta Vairagya. I just got myself into airplane. Jet. Like you see sometimes these religious personalities at different orders, they actually buy jets, several jets, and they actually go out to their they go out to their parishioners and they say, you know, please, I need a new jet, right? And then you do this collection. So one has to be very careful because when one has any of these opulences, and opulences naturally follow a devotee, then these opulences can manifest as anarthas, as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states. It's one of the causes of anarthas, the byproducts of bhakti. So Raghunath Das Goswami was very careful. So, little history. So, his father had a wonderful name. It was Govardhan. And he had a wonderful Kula Guru. His name was Yadunandana Acharya, pure devotee, associate of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he had many associates who were devotees. And especially Raghunath Das Goswami in his early years met Haridas Thakur, and he was influenced by Haridas Thakur. And he became so renounced that his parents thought, we have a problem here, that our son is not interested in any of the things that are important to us. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called Raghunath Das Goswami's father and uncle to be like worms in stool. Because what a worm in stool is, you pull him out of the stool and he what? Jumps back into the stool. Now the reason that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered them like that was that they knew about Krishna consciousness. They knew about the futility of trying to enjoy in this material world. They had philosophical knowledge. They actually hosted many, many devotees and heard about Krishna consciousness, and even hosted Haridas Thakur in their assembly house. And, of course, there's that story about Haridas Thakur was insulted one time, not by them, but by someone else, Gopal Chakravarti. So they knew about it, yet they kept jumping back into the stool ditch of material enjoyment. In other words, it's not so good if you know better and you keep doing it, right? It's like the definition of insanity. You keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. So his parents were extremely worried seeing his devotion. They thought, what are we going to do? Are we going to do, like nowadays, deprogramming? So they had a fancy way of deprogramming him, or thinking they were going to deprogram him. They got him married to a beautiful wife. Now, it's not that if one gets married to a beautiful wife that one will be deprogrammed from Krishna consciousness, necessarily, if the wife is a devotee. And I don't know about his wife, what she was like, but in other words, they wanted to keep him trapped at home. So basically, Raghunath Das wanted to know what to do, and he tried to run away from home, actually, several times. And he wanted to go to Puri to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu one time, and then he kept trying to run away after meeting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he just became immersed in the ecstasy of Krishna consciousness, and he just wanted to serve Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu full time. So the second time he met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Shantipur. His parents gave him permission. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised him, just act normally. Don't act like a crazy person. Because he understood that if Raghunath Das acted normally, his parents would let down their guard and he'd be able to escape. So Lord Chaitanya gave the example of a lady who has a paramour, which means para amor, just like it's Valentine's Day in a few days. Anyway, that means another love. That's what the word means. So a person who has another love or a secret love, then the person acts so normally. As they say, too much devotion is the sign of a thief. Like if you see some devotee acting so devotionally in the temple, oh my God, what's going on in their lives? So act like that. Have Krishna, and that's actually a good instruction for all of us, that even though we're engaged in so many different activities in this world, and we may press the pause button. We may have so many relationships, but internally, I mean, externally we should be perfectly like gentlemen and ladies, but internally we should be cultivating Krishna. When am I going to see Krishna? The mood of separation. Hey Radhe Brajat Devake, hey Nanda Shuno Kuta. So we shouldn't manifest the external mood generally, except in private. You know, it's not that a devotee should be rolling on the ground or anything like that. So then Raghunath Das went home and he acted like a perfect businessman. His parents thought, he's cured from this infection. Like Prabhupada said, when we distribute his books, it's like the poison entering into the bloodstream. You understand? Poison, you know, it'll act eventually. The bloodstream of society. So, anyway, so what happened is that Raghunath Das's father and uncle got in trouble because they were tax collectors, and in those days, tax collectors get a portion of the taxes they collected. That's like a impetus for them. And so they kept too much instead of giving the proper amount to the government. And so the Muslim, what's called a chaudhry, complained about this, and they were getting ready to arrest the father and uncle Raghunath Das Goswami, but they ran away. And only Raghunath was left, and he was imprisoned. And they threatened Raghunath that, you know, if you don't tell us where your father and uncle are, we're going to beat you. Of course, they didn't beat him. So Raghunath Das Goswami, being very expert in this material world, it's not like people say you joined the Hare Krishna movement because you couldn't do anything in this material world. People say that sometimes about us. You're useless. But Raghunath Das was extremely educated, proficient in politics, business dealings. So he, using a political subterfuge, said to this jailer, or the chaudhry, the person who put him in jail, that, you know, you're like my father. We have a village relationship. And this is actually how the villages were in India at that time. Everybody was a father, uncle, cousin, brothers. You hear all this. It's really sweet. I was just talking to someone who came from India and talking about their parents are in India, and they're just worried about their parents being taken care of later on, and their parents are living in sort of like a condominium in India, but everybody around them is their friends. They have a support system. In America, if you live in a condominium or if you live here, you practically never meet your neighbors. So the village relationship, even in the high rises, is there to some extent in India. So Raghunath Das said, you know, we have a village relationship. I'm like your nephew or son, and so let me make an arrangement. And so this Muslim became overwhelmed with emotion and started crying. So when in doubt, use someone's emotions. He started crying. I'm your Guru Maharaj. No, anyway, so he started crying, and he depended on Raghunath Das to negotiate a settlement. So there was a settlement. The father and uncle, Raghunath Das, slipped some money to the chaudhry, just like bribe them. So then his parents were really pleased. So for 1 year, he acted as a really good businessman. And then after that, he tried to escape every day. You know, he just couldn't tolerate it anymore. Even though it was Lord Chaitanya's instructions, he couldn't tolerate it. And he was caught. And his mother said to the father, just bind him with ropes. You know, just tie him up. Put him in jail or something like that. And the father said, how can we tie him up? His wife is like an angel. We've already tied him up with his wife and the money and everything like that. And he has opulences like Indra. Who can keep a madman of Chaitanya Chandra at home? But still, they kept the guards around him 24/7. The next day, Raghunath Das went to see Lord Nityananda at Panihati. And there's the famous Panihati story, which we are not going to tell right now because that's quite an extensive story. And there, Raghunath Das Goswami got the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Also, this teaches us that if one wants to enter into the understanding of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, one has to approach Lord Nityananda. Lord Nityananda's appearance day is coming up very soon, and we are going to be at Govardhan during Lord Nityananda's appearance day. And we tried to visit Lord Nityananda's Baitaka, which is his sitting place during his appearance day. Sometimes we can go there, and sometimes it's too crowded. But anyways, that's at Radhakund. So, Raghunath Das got all the opulences, all the blessings, by Lord Nityananda. And so then what happened is that Raghunath Das later on got a chance to escape. So Raghunath Das was told, if you eat the remnants of Lord Nityananda, you'll be freed from entanglement. And Lord Nityananda asked all the devotees to bless Raghunath Das so that he could escape from home. So from that time forward, Raghunath Das stayed at the Durga Mandap, which is actually a little temple to Durga that's generally, or take in Bengal, established outside of one's home. Then his guru came to him one night, and Yadunandana, who was Yadunandanacharya, and he said to Raghunath Das, one of the pujaris for the deities has left his service. Can you help me with this? And Raghunath Das said, I'll go preach to him. I'll take care of it. So instead of preaching to him, or maybe he did preach to him first, he actually took the opportunity in the middle of the night when the guards were sleeping to escape. And so the first night, he traveled 30 miles. It's quite a long distance where there's no roads. There's only paths through the woods. And he slept in cow sheds. And this is someone who came from a very, very wealthy family. And so it took him 12 days to reach Jagannath Puri. So Jagannath Puri is quite some distance away, especially if you're walking. And he only ate 3 of those days. So then he got to Jagannath Puri. He met Lord Chaitanya. And the first thing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to him was, Krishna is very merciful to you. He delivered you from the material life, which is like a hole into which one passes stool. Oh my God. This is Lord Chaitanya speaking. Please don't criticize me. And then Lord Chaitanya said, again, repeating what I said before, your father and uncle are like worms in stool. And Lord Chaitanya said, I could say this because we have a village relationship. So normally you don't say that about someone's father or mother. Isn't it? Shh. Unless you have that relationship, because it's not the right etiquette. So Lord Chaitanya put Raghunath Das Goswami under the care of Swarup Damodar Goswami, and he became known as the Raghu of Swarup, or Raghunath of Swarup. And so for 5 days, Raghunath Das Goswami ate Lord Chaitanya's remnants. And the 6th day, he began begging from the Sinhadwara gate. That's the lion gate, the main gate of the temple of Lord Jagannath. And Lord Chaitanya said, this is very good, because if a renunciate is eager to taste different foods, his spiritual life is lost. Wow, that's a pretty heavy statement. That if someone is just interested in different tastes, and this applies to everybody after some time. Of course, in the beginning, Prabhupada said you eat so much, it comes up to the neck or even further, right? I mean, that attracts us to Krishna consciousness like everything cooked in ghee. I remember The first pakoras I ate were just ecstatic. They were like exploding ecstatic pakoras, whatever. But after a while, you have to really be careful. Vacho vegam, manasa krota vegam, jivo vegam, udar pashna vegam. These are things that could cause impediments in spiritual life. So then Raghunath Das asked for instructions as to his duty in life, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him very explicit instructions. He said, no gramya kata, that means talks, materialistic talks. Don't hear them. Don't eat palatable food, and don't dress opulently, and don't expect honor, but give honor. Always chant Hare Krishna, and in your mind serve Radha and Krishna. So these are really important instructions, basically for every one of us, especially those of us who are in the renounced order of life. I'll repeat them. No materialistic talks. No, don't hear materialistic things. Don't eat palatable foodstuffs. I mean, the food should be, let's say, palatable, but in this sense, opulent. Not that you should eat food that's not tasty. I mean, Prabhupada said in one time, when they were trying to give him food that wasn't tasty, he said, let the starvation committee go to hell. So food should be tasty or else you won't digest it. You'll get sick. But as far as opulent, one has to be careful. And, of course, during festival days, it's a different thing. Okay, give people a concession. Don't dress opulently and don't expect honor, and give it to all others. And chant Hare Krishna, and in your mind serve Radha and Krishna. So in your mind you should be serving Radha and Krishna. Then, looks like we're just going to talk about Raghunath Das today. Raghunath Das's father sent many servants to serve Raghunath Das. So Raghunath Das didn't accept the servants for himself, and the money that his father sent, he used that money and the servants to serve Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he invited Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his house for prasadam twice a month. And then he stopped. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, basically he asked Swarup Damodar Goswami, why did he stop? And then Swarup Damodar Goswami said, I guess he considered it wasn't proper. And then Lord Chaitanya explained how the mind becomes wicked by accepting something from others. In other words, one becomes controlled. By wicked, it's not that, let me just clarify that. It's not when devotees go out to Sankirtan or get some donation for the deities that they actually, mind becomes wicked. It's just you become controlled. When you're getting something regularly from someone, then you actually start to change your mind about different things and change your behavior. And you see, like even in the modern world, politicians, because they're getting money from people, they actually renounce or their sense of morality and ethics. Or because they're interested in getting elections, they renounce or are not interested in their own sense of ethics and morality. So this is a very important point. When you regularly get money from someone, you actually become their servant. Okay. So then Raghunath Das started to go to the free prasadam booth rather than begging from the Singadwara gate. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu praised him. So this way your mind would not become contaminated by unequal dealings. That's another thing. We like when you are begging, and generally you go to people who give donations. I'm even myself, collecting money for the temple, not for myself, but collecting money for the temple. I'll go to the people for the new temple. I'll go to the people who can give money. Bigger money. I won't go to the people who won't give money. So, is begging for one's own maintenance is a little bit different. Then you actually start to give more mercy or think more mercifully towards people who are giving you more, and you neglect the people who don't give it to you. So it really creates a contamination in the mind where you deal with people a certain way because they give, and you deal with others a different way because they don't give. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased that Raghunath Das was going to the free prasadam booth. Then Lord Chaitanya became so pleased with that renunciation, he gave Raghunath Das a Govardhan Shila and Gunja Mala. Those are the red and white berries that we put around Govardhan. And this Govardhan Shila and Gunja Mala were the personal possessions of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would hold the Govardhan Shila to his heart. He would put the Govardhan Shila on his head. Don't do that with our Shilas. And he would smell the Shila. We don't do that. That's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But you see how important the Govardhan Shila was to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and what it indicated. It indicated that he was giving Raghunath Das a place at Govardhan, Radhakund, and shelter at Radharani's lotus feet. That's the Gunjamala. That's why we put the Gunjamala around Giriraj when we dress Giriraj, because that's Radharani. It's a representation of Radharani. And so this Govardhan Shila that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave Raghunath Das Goswami was wet from the tears of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was bathed daily from the tears. And Lord Chaitanya told Raghunath Das, this is directly the body of Lord Krishna. Worship the Govardhan Shila in goodness with water and 8 manjaris with 2 leaves on each side. That's how we worship Govardhan. 8 manjaris. And after some time, Govinda gave Raghunath Das Goswami sweetmeats to place at the lotus feet of his Govardhan Shila. And so Raghunath Das became very, very renounced, even more renounced. He ate and he slept no more than 1.5 hours daily, and sometimes not even that. Eventually, he started eating only decomposed rice thrown near the Singadwara gate, which the cows rejected. I talked about that before. And one time, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and said, "What are you eating?" And he grabbed some of it for himself, and he put one morsel in his mouth, and Swarup Damodar Goswami stopped him. He said, "Don't take any more. It's not fit for you." And then Lord Chaitanya said, "You're saving all this nice prasadam for yourself." So it is a fact, if one sees prasadam like that, one doesn't distinguish between one type of prasadam and another type of prasadam as far as the spiritual potency, then one has the right consciousness. Like it's mentioned by that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he would take all the prasadam, Mahaprasadam. Generally when people say Mahaprasadam, they just mean sweets, right? They don't mean the vegetables, they mean sweets. That's a euphemism for sweets. Anyway, he would take all the prasadam and just mix it all together. I'm not saying that we should do that, but this is a sign of someone who's extremely renounced. So then, after Lord Chaitanya and Swarup Damodar Goswami left this world, Raghunath Das went to Vrindavan to join the other Goswamis, but he was so disturbed, feeling a separation from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he wanted to commit suicide by jumping from Govardhan Hill, but the other Goswamis of Vrindavan employed him reciting Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes to them for 3 hours a day, and 3 hours a day, and that kept him from leaving this world. And at the same time, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami resided at that particular location near Shamakund, and he heard these pastimes, and because of the hearing of these pastimes, we have the Chaitanya Charitamrita by the mercy of Raghunath Das Goswami. So every day he would offer 1,000 obeisances to Krishna, 64 rounds, sometimes more, bow to Vaishnavas like 2,000 times a day, 22 hours a day service. And I don't think we have a time. There's a lot more about Raghunath Das Goswami. Anyway, he arranged for the excavation of Radhakund and Shaimakund. He didn't build himself a kutir until Sanatana Goswami insisted, because Sanatana Goswami saw that Radharani was protecting directly Raghunath Das from the sun with her shawl, and Krishna was protecting Raghunath Das from the tigers with a stick. So he chastised Raghunath Das, and Raghunath Das eventually built a little kutir right near the kutir of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And right around there is also the kutir of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Raghunath Met Janava Mata. He's our Prayojana Acharya. So, sorry we didn't get a chance to talk about anyone else. So, all glories to his divine grace.
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Enam Kanvantam Aravindanalayatacham Bharavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vidamaniya Nishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Andani Asa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Sham Bhajami. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Mutade Jimate Bhakti Vedanta Samini Dinamande. Namaste. Saraswati Devi. Gurumani Vacha. Name Sesha. Sunyapati. Maksha Changde Sacharande. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Shivasati Gaurmakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadada Sivasati Gaurmakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Sivasati Gaurmakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Sivasati Gaurmakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadada Sivasati Gaurmakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Sivasati Gaurmakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Goloka Nana Rana Goloka Nana Radhe. Jaya Radha Goloka Nana Rana Goloka Nana Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe, Jai Om Vishnu.
Chaita Darpana Marjanam Pavamahapanam Treya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vijavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pradipanam Pranamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Paramvijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapitani Amita Smaranena Kala Tadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjani Nanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Janmani Ishvare Tavavad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Arinanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patisamam Vishameva Vambuddha Kribhayata Vapada Pankaja Stita Duli Sajashim Vachintaya Nayanam Galanashudaraya Varanam Gadgadurudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Bravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahena Me Ashlishyava Padamritam Panastumam Adarshanam Marma Hatakarotuva Yatatatava Vadijatatulam Patomat Prananatastu Saevanapara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all living beings. And thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so fortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of